the correlation is just so great. The students that came out of midterm behind, that we got through, they finally got through the app sale, but they were a week or two behind. Danny, speak to the quality of the work that we saw with the app tail when it started.
It was, when we started the app tail, they were, I mean, it was just amazing, the turnaround. I was able to, when I say coast, I was able to just kind of sit back and just kind of monitor until the very end. Now, towards the very end, I had to get more involved in it.
That's what I'm talking about. When they got behind, everything was going good until they got a little bit behind, and then they started turning in stuff that was a little more than the directions, and that's what happens. So it's a balancing act, I guess. We want better work, but if we get the great work up front, then we get really bad work in the end. I'd rather see more consistent work all the way through. Some of them got behind on their own because they really wanted their first one to be great. Well, that's okay, but now you're a week or two behind. That doesn't sound like a lot, but when you got to knock out 2 evidence artifacts in that first semester, you got 9 tasks, and you get 2 weeks behind. Then we started seeing Danny really had to have a come to Jesus meeting with him. He had to bring me on to be the bad guy, yell at him a little bit about, don't this is not acceptable.
While you're on that, Dale, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I had one of mine, my CC2s, which in my mind is my intern, email me today and say, what do I have to have done to pass the internship? Now, this is 601s that it's been harder for them, not all of mine have the app tail done.
Well,
how you want me to do they upload I've forgotten, do they upload their log of hours?
Well, that's one of the things that I wanted to cover.
Okay, I'll be quiet. I'll let you.
If they did their hours this semester, I'd pass them. That's just it. Now they can upload their hours one of 2 ways, and they're getting it wrong regularly. So that's the first thing I want to cover tonight. Thank you. That helps me segue into that. They have 2 different places. This place here, this is the spring 17 and the add-on and the fall 17. Let me go to the, and you'll see that in a minute too. Let me go to the fall 17 one. I'm going in as a student view, and it's the same whether it's the add-on or regular. Down here at the bottom of their regular DRF portfolio, they can submit their internship log for comments. They are not to submit it for evaluation. They're only supposed to request comments here. Now, the problem is they go in and upload it and hit the request comments, and guess what happens when they try to come out? As soon as they come out, it says, do you want to submit your work? No, don't submit your work. You got to keep going in every semester. So, no, I will submit later. But they keep doing that, and so I have sent back more than 20 of those. Now, the way to fix that problem is don't submit it, just upload it for comments. Or how about this? Go to your folios and web pages and pull up your competency folio. This is the method. And down at the bottom, guess what I've got? Here's a place where you can't submit it. All you can do is request comments on it. But if they've done their log this semester, even if they haven't done all their evidence artifacts, if they've done their log and you're satisfied that they were actually an intern this semester, I just graded one that had 400 hours from this semester. Can't make that up. Kelly had 400 hours. So if they've got somewhere around 80 hours on their log, that's good. They've passed it. Because really the clinical piece is supposed to be, we're coaching them and helping them with their evidence artifacts, but technically the clinical piece is the 80 hours that they did at their school. Okay. And so if they got their log, if they put it here and it comes to you as a comment request here, or if it comes from a comment request as a DRF, that's fine. What I'm generally catching all the ones that are submitted for evaluation. First thing I do every day and all during the day is go in and look and see. And when I see one from fall 17 that submitted their internship log, I send them a nice note. I return it for revision. I tell them it looks good, but they don't have to revise it. I send it back. It's only to be submitted in the last semester. And I copy that box and I email it to them also, so that, because some of them don't know how to get their comments back in TaskStream. So I make sure I send them an email separately that says, it's fine, you're just not supposed to submit it. But for whatever reason, that box keeps popping up. It says, you need to submit your work, and they think that they have to do that. They don't. Tell them don't submit it. Just request comments on their log. But yeah, if they've done their log, we're going to pass them on. You know, we just can't, with the financial situation at Gardner-Webb, we're not going to throw students out. We're going to take everybody who meets the minimum qualifications. And our social contract is we got to get them through. We need to work with these people. Now,
well,
we can argue.
I just didn't want somebody to look and see that mine didn't have.
Right, and I understand. You're exactly right. So what I want is not to have any that didn't finish their evidence artifacts, but we're not going to throw them out for not finishing those if they're doing their clinical experience.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. But the social contract is we really got to work hard to pace these people. And grind the work out of them. And it may not be the very best work because of the time constraints is my point, but we can't, grinding it, and then they're behind at the end. That doesn't serve our purposes either, because then the work gets really poor if we do that. So sometimes good enough has to be good enough, and we have to keep moving. We have to keep them moving. We have to keep the line moving. I hate to say that, but that's the way it goes. We're looking at, I would like to enter into the discussion with the folks across the street and up the hill. Across the street's the graduate school, and up the hill is the president's office up in Webb Hall. I'd like to enter into a discussion with them. I talked to one of the VPs today about what percentage could they stand for us to knock out in the application entrance process. We lose 3 or 4 in every class to begin with as soon as they see the level of work. And what percentage, if we went back and did analysis of variance, or if we did a regression and we looked to see which ones dropped out, I'll guarantee you it would be the ones that just barely scraped in on minimum qualifications. So what if we upped our qualifications where we knocked 5 or 10% out up front? It would make our jobs a lot easier instead of trying to drag them through. Danny and I have been in this discussion with one of ours that shouldn't have probably gotten in, and Danny has dragged her the whole way. It's, take a step and drag her, and now we're going to have to try to do some kind of an incomplete with her, when the truth of the matter is that we probably shouldn't have had her to begin with. Now, we're going to work with her. Danny's going to do a contract. I've done all I can. That's our social contract. But the bigger issue is can we do something about these folks up front? And then maybe the pacing wouldn't be so hard. I've also entered into a discussion about class sizes for 601.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, don't you think we're going to be better? I'm going to be better next semester if we don't change things again.
We're not going to change a thing. Okay. We're rolling on. I'm taking things out instead of adding things in.
Okay.
Amen.
That's part of the discussion tonight is
I'll be more comfortable, and I think that will make me be better with the students, after having gone through the CC1, CC2, and without having to call you or email you every time. I know you get aggravated.
That I like. I mean, I like for us to know what we're doing and communicate rather than do things badly or poorly. But the only, part of what I wanted to cover tonight is the difference between the competencies that are written into the actual task of the evidence artifacts, the competency analysis, and the competency folio. Students are having a little bit of problem with that. Now, I'm trying to take some of these boxes out where they think they're supposed to write things that we don't need. They're writing their competencies, like, for example, in the app cell, they're writing it in task 5, and the AppTel task 4, and so on. They're writing their competencies, and we're just having those have them copy and paste those into the competency analysis for that semester. They don't have to write something a second time. And then after that first semester, I'm trying to get those boxes out for 603, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We don't need them to write. We don't need them to transfer them over. I think one time is enough. We just have to have one sample for the accreditation. Please remember that we're switching from in-CAPE to CAPE, from a seated provider to an online provider, and all this. And so I'm on that committee, and I'm learning what they have to have. And we've thrown everything that we can at them, and then now time to divest rather than add more new things. I'm going through and figuring out what we need and what we don't need. The internship log, we made a little mistake on that back a year or so ago. Oh, we don't need that. Well, we didn't need it for accreditation. We needed it for licensure, though. Every state requires that list of activities, so can't do away with the internship log. And so when we get through with these legacy students, that mistake will clear itself up. So we still have to have the log. Now, this competency folio, the reason I had it designed and put in is CAPE requires proof that they did something, not a list. CAPE, the accreditor says, we got to see some icons, some artifacts. They don't care about the narrative that goes with them. And so that's why I'm trying to, we see that narrative in their paper. We see it one time in 601 when they put it in competency analysis. After that, CAPE says, you don't have to show us that narrative every time, but you do need a folder that can be downloaded and portable, that can be published, so that you can send us proof that your folks met their competency. They don't want to read it, they want to see it. That's why we made a separate folio, because that folio can be published, put on the disk, and made portable. We have to supply that to the CAPE accreditors, and that's why we're doing it that way. But I'm sorting through things. We're doing away with stuff that we don't need, trying to knock out some of the replication, take some of these. We've got some of the boxes already out. We don't need boxes on dispositions. We're not required to write dispositions anymore. They had to write dispositions for in-CAPE. They don't for CAPE. So we're going to take those boxes out of dispositions, and they'll just rate themselves. Anything that we don't need, I'm trying to divest ourselves of it. I've already got a bunch of stuff taken out for next semester, so there won't be anything new, and actually there'll be some less things. I'm working with Seth pretty regularly to take stuff out that we don't need. But that's part of the transition from being a seated provider and in-CAPE accredited to being an online provider and being CAPE accredited. The proof that you have to have, and all of you have been through accreditation, when the committee comes out and you guys send all that stuff, you have to send all your evidences. That they tell you what they want. Well, it was a completely different list, and we kind of got caught in still having the old list of stuff that in-CAPE wanted, and added the CAPE stuff, but didn't divest ourselves of the old stuff. And so that's what I've been working on pretty solidly for the last month or so. And I've been doing CAPE now this entire semester. I have gotten involved with that and have been doing CAPE. So I would know. I go to the meetings. I make the sacrifice to come to this campus and go to those meetings. And if you know me, you know I'd rather take a whipping than go to those meetings. But I'm finding out. I sent in 2 forms yesterday that showed the link back to the proof that we had for those things. I'm going to those meetings so that I'll know what we're supposed to have and what we're not supposed to have, and what we can divest ourselves of.
When you talk about cleaning up some things,
can't hear. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
No.
I don't know why you can't.
Now I can. You're good now.
Okay. On the internship log, there's that column that says proof, and they haven't been filling that out. They've just been identifying the competence. That's the activities that they do.
I've lost you again. All right. I think what Sarah's trying to ask me is on the internship log, I have a column that has competencies on it, and they've not been filling it out. That was for them. And what I was trying to explain to Danny's and our interns the other night, you need a system. so that you can log where you can find your competencies, because you may not be able to take them immediately and put them in your folio. And so from those activities, you should write in that competency column what competency that is, so you'll know to go back and find that material. That's just a kind of a record keeping thing for them. All I'm really interested in is the activity and the hours. The other columns were for them.
I think she was asking about the proof column that was in that other.
Exactly. The proof, the competency.
You don't have to have that.
That's for them to write themselves notes so they can go back and find their stuff. Because what I have found from our first foray last spring into competencies with them, their complaint was I forgot where that stuff is. I know I've got it somewhere. Did I send it to you? No, I'm not your mama. I don't know where it is. How about writing yourself a note? So for the fall, I changed the form so that, and I've told them, look, write it down. If you can't remember it, write it down. You'll get old one of these days and you'll have to learn to write it down. Everything you have will be written down on even the mail that came today. You'll have to carry a pad around. You'll have to write everything down. That's the curse and the beauty of age is that you get to forget. That way you can sleep at night sometimes. But the bad part is when you go to work, you need to remember. So write it down. And so I made them a form to help them track where their stuff was, because then they start calling me, can you send me this back? Did I send you that? I need this. I need that. I can hardly keep up with myself. I can't keep up with you. So I'm trying to teach them a system to find their stuff, because I know that they're not, as soon as they create an artifact, they're not going to go straight and put it in their folio right then. It's not going to happen. They're going to wait to the end of the semester to start looking for it. They're going to be Henry McGinnis. Henry is one of my favorite stories of all time. I'll tell you quickly. Henry and I were in chemistry class in high school. One day, Henry turned his Bunsen burner on and then started looking for his striker to light it up. And after about 30 seconds, him looking for it, I said, here, use mine, and stepped back. It didn't burn the whole roof off the high school, just the backside where the chem lab was. Quite seriously. And so, sometimes you need to know where your stuff is, or things might go badly for you. And so you might need to learn a system of how to keep up with your stuff. And so that's don't be Henry. If you can't remember where you put stuff, find you a system for record keeping. And that's part of what we're trying to do in terms of long-term for administration. One of the things from the collaborative meetings that was a pretty strong theme coming through especially from principals about hiring new APs is, can you find some people who can follow directions? And we don't really want to work with people whose answer all the time is, I forgot. That was pretty strong on the dispositional end. We need people that when we tell them something one time, they can go and do it, not forget it, and that they are pretty, organization skills. I think that was number one for APs, that they really need organizational skills, because that's what leads to time management. And I thought, well, that makes sense. I used to require all my assistant principals to carry a pad in their pocket. I still carry one. I'd require them to write things down, have a daily list of things you want to get to. Don't leave it to chance. Have a plan. We need to do more of that kind of stuff with our interns, I'm afraid. They just seem to me as a group to be much more scattered. Maybe that's just a function of their generation. I don't know. But I can't tell you the calls and emails I get on a regular basis. Can you help me find my stuff? And that's worrisome, because we are producing a product, and if our product isn't any good, and if it's not usable out in the real world, they can't keep a job because they don't have dispositional skills. That worries me. We're going to address some of those this summer at the CILD. We've been asked to put some simulations in for soft skills to make sure that our folks have some of those soft skills, especially the organizational ones. So that's what we're doing. But all in all, I did another audit yesterday to kind of shift gears and move on here. I was very pleased. I've gotten a lot of response back when I sent students, what you lack this and that and the other. Get it in now. They've been getting it in now. I don't know why they can't look themselves and see what they need. But again, I guess their mother still picks up after them. I don't know. Maybe they're still living on. So after I reminded them, the work's been flooding in. It's been, the things that they've lacked for the completers this semester. And please remember to contact your add-on licensure people that are finishing this semester, whether they're the 4th semester or whether the 3s, and remind them that they are invited not to graduation, but they are invited to the reception immediately following. It'll be about noon at the Tucker Center. And I've got certificates made for them and bought little holders. Seth we got approved to buy some little holders. It's not as nice as a diploma, but it's going to be nice. It's going to be something that'll be in their hand. And we'd like for them to come to the reception if they would. I'd like to start recognizing them. I know that they didn't do a degree program, but they were here with us for 3 semesters. And so we should do something in terms of a little give back on that. So we're inviting them to that. So again, that's next Saturday. All of y'all are invited next Saturday, the 16th at 10 a.m. You want to walk, you have to wear your full academic regalia. Otherwise, you can sit in the audience, and certainly you should try to come by the reception. I appreciate that. A lot of the students want to see you. I want to see you. I appreciate what you do. We've had a really good semester. I know some of it's been confusing, but we've kind of muddled through that, and we'll get better. I think you're right. We'll get better, especially if we take some of the duplication and other things out. We'll get better. In terms of the spring schedule, I kind of pitched a little mini fit on Wednesday of this week. I guess that was yesterday. On the KTA call, because we only right now have 2 sections of 601 booked. And it appears to me that we're going to need 6, according to the numbers. And that leads me to that notion that let's not wait till the last minute. Let's be planned and prepared. We'll need 4 more sections, but I'd like to see, and those sections will all have 20 or more in them. I think that the smallest of those will be 22. I'd like to see us enter into a discussion also that we cap, especially the add-on licensure people, because the amount of work that the instructor has to grade. And the coaches have to coach. I'd like to see us cap those classes at 15. We still have the same number, and it might require an extra section or 2, but we could regroup them back into larger groups when they get to 603 or 605 and make your money up on the back end. But I'm concerned that we're losing so many on the front end that retention is not. If they're breathing the merit test, we're taking them, and we're taking too many, but we can't get to them all immediately in our classes, and we're losing a good many. By 4 weeks, we've lost a lot. I'd rather take fewer that we potentially won't lose, have smaller classes in 601, and try not to lose so many up front. That to me would be a better model than just grab everybody, get numbers, stuff 25 in a class, and then expect to lose a good many. I don't really want to lose any. I don't like that model. That model is an impersonal model, is what I'm saying, and I don't like that. That's not who we are.
Dale, do you think they're listening to you?
They have to listen. Now, whether they'll act or not, I don't know. When a giant comes in, you have to listen to him. It's kind of like when I went up to Burnsville. You think I'm big. I went up to Burnsville and I met a real giant. One of our C&I doctoral students who's trying to do an add-on licensure is a real giant. And so, yes, I listened intently to him. You don't see many 7-foot, 500-pound men that you're in arm's reach of. So you have to kind of listen to them. And so it's kind of the same way with me. But now I don't know if they're going to act or not. But I would like to see us kind of solve some of our problem up front, where we're just. I'm telling you what, the 601 people, the coaches and the instructors, and having been the coach this year for Danny, who was the instructor, I'll be the first to say he did 99% of the work. I'm telling you, when you get classes with 25 in them, and you got to get 2 evidence artifacts out of them, you got people in there that really don't need to be in the program. Wow, is that labor intensive that first 4 weeks? Danny and I came on, mostly Danny, I just kind of coattailed him. We came on twice a week, and we would spend sometimes, I don't know, we spent 2 hours one night.
We did that a couple of times.
I mean, the emails and the calls and the wailing and gnashing of teeth for 4 weeks was just incredible. But
then it stopped.
Yeah.
And then after that, it just kind of just stopped.
Yeah, we finally got them to a place. But the problem is we don't pay people enough. I mean, if we were paying by the hour, we'd have used up all the money in the first 4 weeks.
I'd be going to Hawaii during Christmas.
I'm telling you. We have to make the amount of work more equitable with the amount of pay. I'm not particularly money driven myself, but I understand that's not the case here. Is that you can't expect people to work 80-hour weeks for that first 4 weeks for what we pay, and that's about what it takes when you get that many to begin with, and you get some that are just shouldn't be in the program. And that's really that. I tell you what, that beats you down. Rod, if you got to go, tell your wife I said happy anniversary. If he's not already gone, he had said he had to check out at 6:30. I was supposed to be his timer at 6:30. But it will wear on your soul to put all that time, effort, and energy in those, and then they drop out anyway. That's not, again, that's not the model that I like. I'm not a fan of that model. It's not very humanistic. And if you put your emotion, your heart, your soul, your energy, your talent into it, and you know that they're not going to make it anyway, it kind of would beat you down if you did that on a regular basis. And so I think we need to address that first 4 weeks through who we take, number one, number two, the number in those classes. I'd like to see them down to 15.
Can you hear me?
I'd like to see that.
Neil?
Yes.
Have you confirmed the spring schedule?
Bruce put the schedule together, and as far as I know, I was told yesterday that is the tentative schedule. They said they would look at adding more sections of 601 because I'm concerned, and I'll show you what I'm concerned about.
Well,
but what's on the schedule right now has been confirmed so far.
Is that in that email that we received?
Yeah. Yeah, it should have been. Let me see.
You mentioned something about me teaching a 603, and I saw a message from Emily about being Blackboard certified through Gardner Webb, and I don't know if I am.
My suspicion was you can do that fairly quickly. You just have to do those modules.
Yeah.
And I put a call in today, then I sent an email, and so I hope to hear from her tomorrow. But yeah, that's one of the things that you just have to do the online modules and get to 9.1, and it's just common sense stuff. I mean, it'll take you, I don't know, a half a day, 4 hours, something like that.
Can I call her and set that up?
You certainly can.
Okay.
You certainly can.
I didn't get an email, and we had talked about something.
Yeah, you weren't on the original, but I added you in, and so.
Okay. You'll let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all can see this or not. I'm going to try to get it where you can. Okay. And so if you can look at your screen, I may have to do a share screen here. Let's see this. New share. Here we go. Right here are the numbers right now. Executive leadership for the spring. We've got one class of regulars with 22 in it that have paid. There's 32 possibilities, 22 have paid so far, so that number may go up. But see, that class has already got 22 in it. All right, we've already got 104 that have paid for the add-on licensure. That's 5 classes right there, and that's 21 per class. And they've only got 2 classes total, one regular and one add-on on the schedule. That's what I mean. I can't do that math. We can't. And so I told them yesterday, we got to have at least 4 more sections. And that's still going to be above, that's going to be 21 or 22, even if any of these people who are on the list but haven't jump over, we're still going to be over 20 in every class. And we got to have 4 more classes just for that. So I've got to have a plan in place. I've got to have a plan in place for how we're going to, you know, I may be calling on some of y'all to teach another class for all I know. But let me look and see right quick. Let me go here. Share screen. Okay, I'm back to this one. Let me pull this document up. So what I did, so as I said, right here, Phyllis, I don't know if you can see this one or not.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so you can see I've got you here.
Okay.
That one, and I've already turned that in.
Okay.
So that looks good. So right now, as you can see, this face-to-face did not make in Smith. They were going to try to make one there. It didn't make at all. We had like 4 students. So Danny and I put us in as placeholders here. As you can see, they've only got 2 sections, and we've got 130 students, and we got 2 sections. So we're going to have to do something there. I don't know what we're going to do with this TBD here on 602. I don't know what we're going to do with that one. I've got to, you know, somebody's going to have to fill in there, and then everybody else is pretty solid. But I think we're going to have 4 more sections of 601, and I'm going to have to dust some people off and get them in there. Now, this 602 right here. I don't know what we've got. I've got to talk with Bruce about that tomorrow about what we're going to do there. But now this is, you know, Jerry's out on medical leave right now. I don't know if Jerry will be back in the spring or not. And so that's part of that. These 2, we've got yellow. We scheduled him for those. And so if he comes back, we'll have room for him. If not, I'll have to replace him. I did talk to him today, and he's not sure if he's going to be back in the spring or not. So, I'm kind of in limbo, but I'll figure that out. That's not your worries. But I'm going to try to have Rachel teaching this time, and Phyllis and Sarah. So I know Phyllis is Blackboard certified. So if you're not, you can get in touch with Emily, and she'll set you up to do that Blackboard module. So I think other than that, everybody else is good. I may have to pull some of the other people out. Now this is just a teaching schedule. And one of the reasons why I've got to have coaches on the backside of this. And so if you don't see your name on here, I've got plenty of coaching work to do. And so I hadn't even looked at coaches until we start sitting down and be a little more firm on the schedule. And they're probably not going to do that until probably toward the end of next week. But this is pretty solid right now, what we've got.
Are we going to fall, as far as coaching goes, are we going to keep those CC2s that we had this semester?
You will. You will keep those. They will stay with you. And so that's what I'm talking about is I've got to have some people for the new ones. I've got 130 new ones coming in I've got to have coaches for. And you folks who are coaching this time, you've already got 2 sections. So there's going to be plenty of things to do. I mean, we got plenty of new ones coming in. And we'll have to figure out how to get somebody out to see them as quickly as possible in that first 4 weeks, and we'll have to get them somebody to coach with, pair with their classes. So
I have one more request now, at our training in January, can Dr. Lutz help? I'd like to sit down and go through this whole recording thing of the Zoom. I have to I have to hit all kinds of buttons to get my recording uploaded and get it ready to send to my students. I finally get it, but I have so much trouble with that. I just like to learn a few tips about how to do that better.
Yeah, probably it'll be me.
Okay.
One of us, but Cheryl, she's got, I've put a request in to get her, and so she's available. We haven't sat down. We're having a faculty meeting in the morning, and we haven't been given the schedule yet. It's supposed to be given to us tomorrow about who's booked for what time, where, and when, so that folks can lend a hand. But we're going to, hopefully at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to know what our schedule is going to look like for those 2 days in January in terms of who's going to be booked during what time. And I've already done a preliminary. Well, I talked to Cheryl about making sure she brings the right kind of bread to the luncheon tomorrow, but also, since I'm bringing the meat, got to get the important stuff first.
Look a little more professional.
Yeah. And so, but we've talked about if she's available. She's not made a commitment because she doesn't know what her schedule is going to look like, nor do we know. But hopefully we're going to have the master schedule of all the sessions tomorrow. Okay. is what the information is. Monthly School of Ed meeting, and we're supposed to get that framework tomorrow morning at 10 if we don't get snowed out.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Well, they've already put the brine on the roads. I ran out to right before this. I got through. I had to run over. I needed to get a little extra ceramic heater to put in a bathroom. So I'm hoping it, because it's supposed to get down in the teens maybe this weekend. And I've got my second house. I've got I hadn't had the baseboard heat put back in the basement. I redid the basement. It's completely done, but I'm not going to be able to get the electrician out there before the weekend, so I went and got a little ceramic heater. I don't want my pipes to freeze with all that work. And so I was amazed. They put brine everywhere here around Bowling Springs and Shelby.
Well, I'm glad I went today and I'm at home.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have been to Bowling Springs today from St. Paul, so I've had a 7-hour drive.
Well, you didn't come to a thriving metropolis, but you didn't leave from one either, so it wasn't too bad.
No.
You got to drive through a couple of civilized places along the way.
I did, and they were busy.
Yeah, see, Danny came today, and I had to put a coat and tie on to try to stay up with him. Makes me look bad.
He picks on me all the time.
No, we had a proposal defense today that went really well. And so,
Nicole, she did a good job, didn't she, Dale?
She did a good job. She did a really good job. And part of saying that is a lot of what feeds our advanced programs, the doctoral program, is this master's program. Yeah. And she's one of those.
Yeah, I had her in the master's program in Fayetteville.
Mm-hmm. And so. And see, that's one of the things that one of my arguments too is that we need to be concerned about the quality of students coming into this program, because pretty much that's who we get in our doctoral programs. They populate those eventually, and so you need to be a little more selective maybe. But we'll see how that goes. But I don't know how in kind of wrapping up here, I don't know how much longer Bruce is going to be interim dean. I don't suspicion that they're in any hurry to hire anybody. As far as I can see, I'm guessing they'll have somebody in place for next fall. So we're assuming that Bruce is going to run on through the year. I have no idea how long Jerry's going to be out, or I talked to him today on the phone, or what he's going to do if and when he comes back. So you're stuck with me in the MELS program until I'm the interim. I have been,
and we're glad. We're glad of that, Dale.
You're happier about it than I am, but that's another story. Too many meetings.
Just get over it. You're stuck with us.
Too many meetings. I'm wearing out the seat of my pants rather than the soles of my shoes, and that's never a good thing.
Dale, can I ask one more question?
Sure.
I've gotten several notifications on my email to do the dispositions, but no, we're
I'm
not.
getting them.
No.
There's so many mistakes they're trying to attach stuff to the dispositions. They're
Okay.
trying to link to the competency folio rather than do a copy and paste. I've had to send dozens of that kind of stuff back and send out emails. Don't do this and don't do that. And I've had that happen so much. I realized early on that I should work through those. And a lot of the work that comes in, even if I don't grade it, I'll look at it to make sure it's all there or it's the right work. And then I'll go back out and let the person that's the evaluator grade it, because about a third of those, I don't know what's happening, but about a third of them, they'll upload one and only has three tasks, or they'll upload all their, instead of uploading the evidence narrative, they'll upload the document that has all the peer reviews in it. I had one of those today. Yeah. And so I had to assume the role of task stream portfolio manager when Jerry went out as well. And so I'm doing that and the MELS share and doing the clinical and doing Kate.
And answering all my questions.
And answering questions. And so I've been here every day this week. I don't like this. I haven't been in a school not one day this week. Have I been? Now, I did go last week. I played hooky and was in schools pretty much all last week. And that's kept me sane. But I've been here every day and I'll be here tomorrow. So I've been here 5 days this week. That's too many. That's too many for me. I need to be out in school. I need for a snotty-nosed kid to rub his face on my pants. I need for that to happen. That kind of grounds you. So I got to be Santa Claus over the weekend. That's the only thing that kept me sane. All right. It's 6:45. I appreciate all you've done this semester. Don't worry if you get notifications. You go task stream. It's not there. I've already beat you to it. Trying to keep things moving along. We had a little crash. Work kind of piled up in some other programs, and we had a little crash in task stream. It went wonky on Sunday and didn't really clear up till late yesterday afternoon. So that's what I'm trying to avoid is when you get more than about 4 pages of work in there, when you get above 50 pieces of work, and with all the pictures and all the folios and stuff that it takes, until you move it into storage. When you grade it, it moves it into storage. But when it has to hold it in RAM, it's leaf season around here, and all the yard men are working on the leaves. They don't have time to fix the technology. That's the big joke here on campus is that when they did the voluntary RIF last spring, all the technology people left and took the severance packages and left. And they said, well, they were going to have people we already hired to fill in for technology. And so the joke here is if during leaf season, all the yard men, they don't have time to work on the technology because they're out getting up the leaves. But so that's kind of an inside joke at Gardner Webb, I guess. It's kind of not kind of ugly, but it's the truth. But yeah, we've struggled with task stream for 3 days, but it finally got cleared up yesterday. So I was able to do my audit. It kept showing when I'd pull up. Now, if you're just going in and trying to get one thing, it wasn't too bad. But see, I'd go in and try to pull up a whole database of a whole DRF, of a whole cohort, and it would show me some information, but it wouldn't show me the names. It would say no data available. And so that's what happens when you get too much stuff in there and it doesn't get graded. And so I had to go down the hall and yell at the C&I people to grade their work so that it would ease up so we could get back in. They're not my favorite, and I'm not theirs, so I think it was them, or I'm going to blame them anyway. But they're pretty good people. All right. I'm going to go to dinner. I got to go buy my stuff for the Christmas luncheon tomorrow. Any more questions from anybody? Again, I appreciate so much what you do for me and for our students, especially for the students. And Danny, I'll get back to you on that RRB in a few minutes.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to do anything about it until the first of the week anyway. So, y'all, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good day. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Can we talk in the morning sometime?
Yeah. Call me anytime.
Okay, I want to see a screen, so I need you near a computer while we talk.
All right. Yeah, call me about 10 o'clock.
Will do.
All right. Thank you.
Talk tomorrow.